Greetings, Sagittarius. Here are your October horoscopes. September tried to tie you down, but October is basically a free pass for you to run wild. Don't forget about the hanging branches, though, Sagittarius. On October 6th, Mercury is going to enter into Scorpio, which is your natal 12th house. And Mercury in the 12th house has to do with your subconscious, your hidden powers, and even quiet matters. So, this is a transit where your inner voice can get louder than the outside noise. You have to pay attention to your dreams, to pay attention to what your gut feelings and your intuition is telling you. And even these subtle clues that you have, you know how when we see angel numbers or when the universe is speaking to us, it's whispering, but then it starts screaming at us if we're not listening or we're not taking it seriously. We definitely see the signs and signals, and I think that's going to be what's happening for you, Sagittarius. So the universe is going to speak to you, and even if you have to journal, even if you have to pick up some type of spiritual study, or you have to meditate, definitely get into something that can bring you a sense of inner power. So conversations could be had behind closed doors, or you can even expect to plan things in a private matter. You know, the 12th house has to do with things that are private. Mercury is going to be moving into your sign at the end of the month. So these are, of course, things that you're going to be voicing. But first, you have to be very introspective and go over what is going on behind closed doors, maybe make some endings. Even right now is 222, but there are a lot of things that are going to happen behind closed doors that feel subtle and that happen in a private setting, but um ultimately to adjust your voice in some type of way, or adjust your personal identity, or increase your personal power. On October 7th, we're going to have a full moon in Aries in your natal 5th house of children, innocence, joy, happiness, and something that you have been working on that has to do with creativity, even if it comes to like a romantic connection, can reach its climax. You know, full moons have to do with combinations, it has to do with endings, or has to do with revealing things to us. If you're a parent, these can be big developments that have to do with children, and that have to do with maybe giving them a little bit more attention, or even if they need a little bit more independence, because you're talking about Aries, right? And there's a theme here that comes with reclaiming your joy. And also, this lunation pushes you to remember that fun and pleasure are not just luxuries of life, but we actually need them in order to grow and laugh and have fun. When we are laughing and playing and really enjoying children, or enjoying our children, or enjoying the inner self if you don't have children, joy is very a vital part of living. Like, we cannot always live in sadness. We must laugh and play, and we must live from our heart chakra. And so that's what the full moon is reminding you of. And especially because it's also in a fire sign like you, there must be passion in the things that you do. There must be happiness, and you must, feel blessed to even smile, even have things to smile about. So October 13th, Venus is going to enter into your 11th house of Libra. And Venus in the 11th house brings blessings to your networking, your long-term goals, and you can expect harmony or reconnection when it comes to like friendships, or it comes to people who are aligned with your longer, or what is it, like your future vision. These people are seeing who you are now, and not just like, you from the past. You are forever and ever evolving and changing, Sagittarius. So even collaborations could work a little bit more easily. It's like your charm can shine a bit more in group settings, because you stand out a little bit more. This is a great time to really refine your vision when it comes to the future, because Venus in the 11th house wants to bring or attract. Venus is our attractor, these supportive people that can help you manifest your dreams, your goals, and people that feel like you're meant to meet them, or they feel like very destined type of friendships or relationships, or the people that are meant to lead you somewhere that you're meant to meet. On October 14th, Pluto is going direct in Aquarius at a very earlier degree in your third house. So if you have planets, points, or any type of positioning at like 1 to 2 degrees, it's gonna hit those points, and you're gonna feel this entirely. But Pluto is a transit that's gonna be going on for like 14 to 20 years, and it was its first like retrograde into Aquarius. And in your third house, over a long period of time, you're learning that your words hold and carry a lot of weight. And I'm not talking about like heavyweight, I'm talking about influential weight, and yours especially, Sagittarius. And this is a gift. You're going to notice that it's truly a gift to have this type of communication with others, or to be able to influence a lot of like mass amount of people by the things that you say, or even the power that you emit, that your mind has. You have a lot of mental power, Pluto in the third house, and I think over the next couple of years you're going to have some struggles with it, but you're ultimately going to develop a voice that is unshakable, unbreakable, because when you speak, even if your voice shakes, Sagittarius, and you don't truly believe what you're saying, you, in some part of you, like your inner self, the truest part of you, knows that you're saying these things for a reason, and your voice is literally positioned, because it's an Aquarius, to influence the collective consciousness. You can't hold back the truth, and if you are holding back the truth, this is a time that it can no longer be contained. So you want to write, you want to speak, you want to I want to say you want to influence, because your voice are going to influence anyways, but you really want to share your ideas publicly, and you want to feel comfortable stepping into your the power of your voice. And so October 20th, the new moon, not the new moon, Mercury is going to conjunct Mars in Scorpio in your natal 12th house. Mars in Scorpio, even Mercury in Scorpio, like this conjunction, of course, is very powerful. You're talking about a planet, Mars, action, conflict, drive, and Mercury, the mind, even friendships and things of that nature. But most important, like your communication, how you're talking to others and communicating ideas. These things come together, and they come together in the so-called shadows, because the 12th house, but they can trigger these subconscious patterns, or they can trigger these like these frustrations that have to do with like suppressed anger, right? Even things that I would say, watch out for like sharp words and sharp tongues, because secrets can come to light that cause conflict, even mental overwhelm in some type of way. But on the more higher playing side of the 12th house, because 12th house has to do with endings and things of that nature, Pluto in the 12th is, not Pluto, Mars in the 12th is trying to rip through and cut through in order to get to the most vulnerable you. But when you're dealing with Mars, it's really hard to do that. You have to be compassionate, vulnerable, and really put yourself out there to be felt and understood, and Mars is not doing that. So on the positive side, it gives you confidence in order to confront what you've been avoiding. And this can be through shadow work, this can be through meditation, this can be through healing the energetics, Reiki and meditations. And there's all different types of meditations that can happen in the 12th house. I would suggest like going underwater. I won't say drown yourself underwater, right? But you put yourself underwater and you stay there and you listen, to the way that you breathe into what's going on underwater, because you don't want to let this inner tension eat you alive. You want to use it to heal yourself and to see what is beneath the surface. On October 21, we're going to have the new moon in Libra in your natal 11th house. And there's a fresh start in your 11th house that has to do with new people entering your life, new people entering to your path. And you're also setting these intention for new dreams and projects and collaboration. And I think this new moon is trying to get you to, or invite you to, and reflect on who you want to build a life with, or build this idea with, or this dream with, who is actually aligned to what you want out of what you want long term. and what communities do you actually belong to. Friendships that are formed now can have truly like a long lasting impact on what you're meant to do in this world. And so October 22nd, Neptune is going to be leaving Aries, going back into Pisces. And so this is in your natal fifth house, but Neptune is going back into your fourth house for the last time in your lifetime. So Neptune is really teaching you that you have Sagittarius. I mean, you have been the one that has digged through your very, very dear, close, and private ancestry, the patterns, the pain, all types of things, but also the glory, the gifts, and things that we inherit from our roots. You have had the first hand at this, and so you understand things that are like that go very deep emotionally, that go very deep, like to the root, to the core of things. And even things that people try to hold private, you have had to confront those things. And so with Neptune now moving to your fifth house, I mean, it's retrograding, but it moved to your fifth house already. There is this sense of clarity that comes, of course, because it's going retrograde and you already experienced this, and it's just coming back to teach you this last thing again. It's like you have to end the illusion of fantasy, and you need to really see where you've been projecting versus where you actually see things for what they are. And even if you've been confused about certain things, love, you've been confused about passions, you can been confused about how you can enjoy yourself, how you can assert yourself after everything that you have been through, and suddenly you start to see things more clearly. Like these are moments of severe clarity that you will have with beyond the illusion. Even though Neptune and Pisces, of course, we see a lot of illusions, but we also see beyond the veil. And I think that you've learned to see beyond the veil, and you have to really get rid of any fantasy or get rid of any illusion that doesn't allow you to see behind the veil. And that could be lying to yourself about the way that you feel, about where you want to be, and even about the people that are surrounding you, even when it comes to like our parents and family. So, Neptune is teaching you this last lesson before it enters into your fifth house for good. And I would just say, show up for yourself in ways that you need to show up for yourself. Don't allow your mind to wander into your familiar upbringings or childhood trauma. And remember to enjoy yourself. Remember to really sit back so that you can have those private moments of clarity. So on October 23rd, the sun is going into Scorpio in your natal 12th house. And so this is a season that wants you to retreat. The sun is a very powerful force of energy, very magnetic, very honorable. And the 12th house has to do with spiritual renewal. So you may feel like less social, and you may be drawn inward. So you have to use this time to recharge. Even when it comes to like, this is a time before your season, of course, right? And so there can be things that are revealed to you that have to do with your subconscious desires. And these things come in spiritual insight, and they come under the light of this solar transit in Scorpio. Like, this is a time where you don't want to ignore your need for solitude. You really want to spend time in solitude because it's going to fuel your soul for this season. On October 23rd as well, Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio in your 12th house. So there's an amplified force of these taboo thoughts, of really trying to dig beneath the surface. There's nothing, anything that you've been trying to suppress, whether it has to do with emotions, desire, things that you're trying to keep locked away. It's going to bring it up to the light in a very raw and unfiltered way, and maybe even shocking to you. And how many things are coming to you in private. You have to really pay attention to what rises up into your mind, or what appears to you, what you've been trying to face and actually push down, and use this to actually push through it. There's no more shame and hiding, and you have to be extremely vulnerable within the 12th house. Even though things that that others want you to be ashamed of, even on a psychological level. It goes very, very deep, because we can convince ourselves to feel guilty and shame about mistakes that we've made in like past lifetimes. And at this moment, it is like really an excellent time for you to start writing things out, burning things, not burning things, but definitely trying to burn away those heavier emotions. And remember that they're emotions, even though they're psychologically imprinted into our mind, it feels very real. Sometimes we have to do like this deep inner work in order to work through those habits that we have, holding on to like these emotions in a very physical way. So it comes to writing, creative expression, and letting those things go and be transformed into something different. On October 26th, Mars is going to conjunct Mercury, and Mars is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio in your 12th house. Very intense energy, Sagittarius. I'm not going to lie to you, in the 12th house, but nothing, the 12th house is so selfless, and it's really that flow of energy, because it's trying to end the things that's just not working for it. So this is like this untamed, Lilith is this untamed feminine archetype, not willing, and in Scorpio is just not taking any type of ish, and there can be unexpected anger, buried anger that comes to light, even about your sexuality, about, power struggles, about truth, about even justice in some type of way. It's very uncomfortable, or it can feel very uncomfortable, but remember, Sagittarius is deeply transformative. It's trying to transform you, and you must handle yourself and handle your subconscious mind with cautious awareness, if that makes sense. As I said, letting things go in a materialistic way, like writing, exercising, meditation. Like this is an energy that really needs to be alchemized, and you have to use it in spiritual ways, like so that you can reach breakthroughs, because the 12th house has to do with spirituality, and breaking free from like these toxic cycles and patterns, and whether you have to create something that's powerful, like art, or researching certain things. Definitely do it behind closed doors, or spending time away from people in order to collect your thoughts and mind. This is something that you must do in order to have this deeper inner work for you, Sagittarius. On October 29th, Mercury is going to enter into Sagittarius, into your first house. And finally, there are clear breakthroughs of your mind, of your personal authority, of your authentic expression. You are getting your voice back, and after many weeks of like hidden thoughts and a lot of revelations, or a lot of psychological processing, you are ready to really speak your own truth openly. You feel sharper, you feel clearer, you feel happier, more confident. You feel like you can articulate things a little bit more. People will be drawn to your ideas and your words. And so this is a very powerful time to, reclaim your voice, your presence, your perspective, say what you need to say. October is a month that is requiring this deep inner work, but that is balanced with outer connection. This is a month about clearing away subconscious blocks so that you can move into your season renewed and being your unapologetic self. And that's what this is about. You can't stay with any type of psychological programming just because it's easier to like hold on to things that make you that others want to suppress you, but you can't. Like, you really are the generational breaker, Sagittarius. And even though these things may be uncomfortable, ultimately you are very powerful. And if you do not allow yourself to become what you're meant to become, which is untamed, you are in some way like a feminine or masculine archetype, you will start to have power struggles with yourself. You know, you will start to say things that you don't really mean, and people will see it doesn't hold as much weight as when you're speaking the truth or speaking from what you actually think is true. And so, yes, Sagittarius, that's all I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, Sagittarius.